Today's video was sponsored by Pop Culture Zone Pressing Services. If you need your comic books pressed, I personally vouch for Pop Culture Zone as being one of the best professional companies in the game, offering hands down the lowest prices out there. Services start at only $9.99, and every order placed will receive free fast track turnaround times. Even though I press comics for my personal collection, whenever I need a professional press for my key comics, I send them off to Pop Culture Zone, and every single book that I've received back, every single one, has had results that have exceeded my expectations, and I am sure that they will exceed your expectations as well. Make sure you go check the link in the description below to head over to their website, popculturezone.com, for complete details on services and how to begin your order.
What is going on, everyone? Chris with Journos Comics and Pop Culture. A fun video today. We're going to be discussing an interesting topic where I want everybody watching to chime in the comment section. Before we get into it, if you aren't subscribed to the channel, please take some time to do so. I'm going to check out all the links in the description below as well. So let's get into this topic of discussion. Buying comic books or buying a comic lot from an individual off of an online marketplace, and then ultimately the comic book collection that you agreed to purchase goes to someone else. All right, here we go. Here's the details, and I want to hear what you all think of this. I'm going to give you my opinion as well. So you're browsing on Facebook Marketplace, or, you know, it could be honestly any marketplace online. Maybe it's a Craigslist ad. Who knows? It's a local seller. They are about 45 minutes away, and they have a nice short box or so of comic books. They have a price that is, you know, looking good to you. You see the pictures. You're like, okay, this is nice. You inquire about this collection. You hit them up saying, hey, I'm definitely interested in this. Of course, you want to ask the right questions. How many books total? What's the estimated grade? Do you have any more pictures? And you talk back and forth, and you get all of these questions answered. And you come to a point to where you agree on a price. You're like, this is worth it for this much, right? And you said, okay, I am 45 minutes away. And the individual says, it's first come, first serve. And let me actually let it be known that this individual says it's first come, first serve before you even started asking questions, right? But then you start asking all the questions that I talked about, grades, condition, etc., more pictures. You get all that. You're saying, you know what? This is a fair price. I'm going to come right now for X amount of dollars. I'm leaving right now. Give me about 40. What's your address? 45 minutes. I will be there. Okay? You're excited. You're like, man, this is a really nice deal. You get in your car, you throw on some tunes, you're driving, it's a nice day, you got your windows rolled down, maybe you got the sunroof open, and you're just super, super excited. Maybe you have a YouTube channel and you're going to do a video showing off the collection once you have it. You drive 45 minutes, you get there, you pull up, and you text the individual, hey, I'm here, I'm right outside. And the individual responds back saying, sorry, I sold it to somebody already. Sold it to somebody else already. What would you do in this situation? And the question I'm asking today, did this seller have the right to sell that collection knowing that you were on your way? Now, before I answer just a simple yes or no, I think the seller was in the right. He had all the right to do what he needed to do to sell that collection. No, the seller was completely wrong. Let me add some context, okay? Or let's focus on some key factors in this. Number one, the seller absolutely made it clear that it was first come, first serve. All right? So, you got it. Whether you think he's wrong or right, you got to look at that. You got to look at that factor, okay? But let's play devil's advocate and look at it from the other standpoint. You agree on a price, and you let the individual know that you are on your way. You want that collection. There's no like, you're done negotiating. There's no going back and forth. You set a price, deal, I'm on my way. I'm going to the bank. I'm getting cash out. I'll be there in 45 minutes. you got these are two very important things from both sides, from the buyer and the seller. All right. So ultimately, I do believe, and I'm going to tell you guys, this did not happen to me. I'm throwing this out as a hypothetical. I believe that both parties could be partially in the wrong, but I do believe there is more wrong on the side of the seller. Now, let me explain, because as a seller, as a businessman, I'm all about the seller has the right to make their money. Like, it's not, even if somebody, especially via online, even if somebody says I'm on their way, that doesn't mean that they're still going to show up. I've had that happen. There's been plenty of people that said I'm on my way, and then, you never hear from them. You're texting them 2 hours later, like, what's going on? I thought, I'm holding this for you. Oh, my car broke down, or, I had second thoughts. We're like, come on, man. Like, I was sitting here holding this for you. What the hell? I could have sold it to somebody else. That is valid. It's absolutely valid. Okay. But the seller is in a position that is going to put this possible, buyer in a situation where they're keeping their word, and then they show up and then they're screwed and there's nothing there. So this is what I would do in order to avoid it from both parties, right? If you are a buyer, you want to make sure you communicate to that buyer, like, look, I know you said first come, first serve, but I'm about to drive 45 minutes. I'm not just hopping on the freeway and going down a couple of exits, or I'm not just hopping down the avenue and driving a few blocks. I am literally driving a good distance to pick up this collection. I know you said first come, first serve, but knowing that I'm coming, can you hold the books for me? All right. You can even take a picture of showing the money, the cash that you got out of the bank, if that helps the buyer know that you're serious. Another thing that you might be able to do is do a PayPal deposit, or even a Venmo, because and as a buyer, as a services, not a friends and family, but as a purchase and services purchase, because that money is protected. So you could say, okay, send me $50. I want the rest cash, but send me $50. Send me like a $50 down payment that's protected through PayPal, so I know that you're going to come. And if for some reason, as the buyer, you drive and something happens, the seller sells it to someone else, you can then petition that with PayPal and get your money back. All right, so those are two ways. Now, I do think that's extreme, sending it. Like, if I was a seller and we're communicating like, okay, I'm holding it for you, you're coming, right? I would give them the benefit of the doubt, right? Another thing that you could do as a buyer, though, is obviously communicate like that. Like, look, I'm going to hold this for 60 minutes, for 1 hour. You say you have 45 minutes to get here. I'm going to hold this for you for 1 hour. If I have any other potential buyers, I'm going to be completely honest with them. I'm going to say, hey, look, I'm holding this for 1 hour for another buyer, but I'm going to leave you on standby. So as soon as I know, or if this buyer falls through, you're going to be the first one I hit up, because any potential buyer that is interested in like a collection or a lot like this, especially through an online marketplace, they're not necessarily going to go somewhere, right? If they're really interested and you give them an extra hour to say, this is pending, but I'll let you know you're next in line, 9 out of 10 times, there's a high percentage chance that if you go back to them and say, okay, this buyer fell through, you're next, it's up, it's yours, come get it, they're still going to come get and purchase that collection for you. So, again, to answer the question, I can't really point a finger at anybody in this situation without knowing the facts. Now, if it was specifically communicated, like I said, and all of those key points were communicated beforehand, and the buyer still left, and the seller sold that collection from under their nose, driving that 45 minutes, that seller is in the wrong. That's bad business. And if you are a seller that ever has a a lot to sell or you're selling again, especially on Marketplace, or if you're selling in these Facebook groups, these Facebook marketplaces that are like private groups for comic book sellers, people are going to put you on blast. They will put you on blast, and it's going to be harder for you to have a positive reputation moving forward, right? But you got to put some accountability on the buyer too, to make sure that buyer communicates with them fully. Don't go selling this up from under my nose. What do we need to do to make sure that I can get there and it's still going to be there and you're going to keep your word? But ultimately, I know sellers want their money, and I know people can be flaky, fishy, and a seller needs their money. But a seller also needs to understand business, and they need to understand good business. Even if you're not a brick and mortar, even if you're not a corporation, even if you're not some big multi-million-dollar, multi-billion-dollar entity like McDonald's or Starbucks, even if you're not a mom and pop shop, corner shop, even if you're just selling comics online, even if it's not an online website, even if it's in a Facebook group or a marketplace, you need to understand good business. And if everything was communicated properly, and that individual drove 45 minutes with the money to buy that collection on a price that you guys set, and you sold it up from under their nose just because somebody else could get there a little quicker, that's bad business. And I never, never recommend doing anything like that if it was you in that situation. I want to know your thoughts in the comments below. Who do you think was in the wrong? What type of communication or factors do you believe need to happen to hold each party accountable for a situation like this? Love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Again, if you're not subscribed to the channel, guys, please do so. Be well, and until next time.